Okay, good morning everyone. Now we're going to get down to the crux of it. This is the fourth video in the series, doing some top to bottom analysis on Ethereum US dollar. We've identified our zones on the weekly and daily, we've drawn our trend lines, and we've identified our trend origin and our market structure. So now what is next to do is for us to take a trade, right? But before we can take a trade, we need to first of all identify two things. First of all, what phase is the market currently in? And secondly, how can I take a trade off of that phase? So we can see that price went impulsive, correctional, impulsive, correctional, impulsive. So that means that price is still in the middle of a correctional phase. Price in the middle of a correctional phase. So what I'm going to do is to mark out this point. Let's make it blue. Here. Okay, so those are the two. I think I should stretch this out a bit. Yeah. So these are the 2 points of reference that we have. So why did I bother to circle these zones? These blue regions that I've circled out are our correctional moves. Right now, price is also in a correctional move. Right now, price is also in a correctional move. So in order for us to find out what it is that will signify the end of a correctional move and the beginning of the next bearish impulsive move, we have to go back in time and see how price has responded around these levels. Just before we start, I have noticed the trend line here, and this trend line might be relevant when doing our analysis. So as you can see, we have a trend line like that already in our current price action. So maybe we might be able to find the key to taking our trade. So let's zoom out. Now let's zoom in. So what do we notice about this correctional move? First thing that I would say I notice about this correctional move, hold on, is that it's more like a range. Look at this. Price came to a certain high. Price was caught between these 2 levels. And it wasn't until price broke out of this range that we will be able to say that the impulsive move began. So for this the first thing that we'll notice is a range. Let me make it a little bit easier. This is our first bounce. So our second bounce. We have a bounce here and then a bounce here. Then we have another final bounce here before price broke through. We can extend this like this. You can see. So let me. I don't actually like that. Okay, the opacity I changed in a minute. Yes. So you can see within the shaded green region, price bounced once off the top, twice off the bottom, once off the top, and then a third time off the bottom before finally breaking out of this range. So now let's see what price did in our second box. So first of all, we can see a trend line. We already drew it. You can see impulsive, correctional, impulsive, correctional, impulsive, then a break of that structure. Then price went impulsive, correctional, impulsive, correctional, impulsive, and then another break of that structure. Okay, so let me change the color so that you can see, distinguish it a bit. Impulsive, correctional, impulsive. Let's make that blue. And then price broke it. Let's make that red. Then we have another impulsive, correctional, impulsive, correctional, impulsive. Let's make that blue again. And price broke it. Let's make that red. Then you can see that after that, what the price do? Price continued with the downward trend. Now leave that as black. So maybe you can take a screenshot or just look at it for a bit. This is what price did the second time around. Very different from what price did the first time, because the first time price was simply caught in a range. So now let's go to our most recent price action. What do we see? So much. price seems to be caught in a range actually. Okay, so let's go. What I see is we have an impulsive, correctional, impulsive, correctional, impulsive, correctional, impulsive. Wow, price is still following a proper anti-trend trend. But I also see yep, I also see a range, a slanted range. But a slanted range is actually not a bad thing. In fact, it makes me very glad. Why? Because if you are well versed in chart patterns, you know that this kind of a trend channel is characteristic of a sell trade. It's characteristic of a sell trade. So I'll be expecting a sell somewhere around here. Of course, that's not all that there is to do, but this is just like an initial view. Okay, so now that's it for today's video. And we'll do one more video to better describe exactly how we get into this trade.